Hey everybody, it's Jeff with Chief Classics again. Today we're working on a 1977 Pontiac Grand Prix. I bought it from a buddy of mine. He got it not too long ago, said it wouldn't start, sold it to me, so now it's up to us to figure out what's the matter with it. So let's dive into this thing. It's ugly. Well, here it is. 1977 Grand Prix LJ. And I tell you what, I don't know if there could be a worse color for this car. I don't think the black steel wheels are doing it any good. That's not helping its case at all. But golly, it's just not flattering. This side isn't too bad, really. It looks like it could have had some body work done. Yeah, it's getting pretty rusty down low. All in all, not bad for a Nebraska car, though. Fender looks pretty straight, door looks pretty straight, hood looks all right. Doesn't look like it was ever in any major accident. Oh man, check this. Cadillac, baby. Price just went up. Driver's side isn't as good. Some rust down in the front fender. Some creasage going on the door. They got close to something back here. Ooh, it almost looks like they hit it from the backside. Yeah, it's hard telling. But yeah, not the worst car I've ever seen, that's for sure. Doesn't look like it ever took any beating in the back. All in all, not the worst thing I've drug home. Check out this old Amico sticker, $5,000 reward. Wonder if that was for theft. We got one over here too. NMC. National Motor Club will pay $5,000 reward. That's pretty cool. The door cards aren't bad. That's pretty solid. Boy, this thing smells like an old car, but for some reason it doesn't have that super sticky GM steering wheel. Check it out, it's tilt even. And it's not loose. Dang. Not a lot for instrumentation. We just got dummy gauges. Got a 100-mile-an-hour speedometer with 71,000 on the clock. Judging by the pedals, I'd believe it. This isn't the most wore out car I've ever seen. We got air conditioning, radial tuned suspension, which I think they just put that on every Pontiac after a certain point in time. I guess probably after radials became standard. We got a Kraco tape deck. Gosh, I hope we find some tapes in here. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Dashboard's a little wavy. Hey, headliner's still, oh, never mind. I thought it was good. It's not falling down at least. What do we got for goodies in here? New vehicle inspection procedure. Oh, that's pretty neat. Oh, what else? Limited warranties through K-Care. Would that be Kmart? Man, I wonder if we have any, like a lifetime warranty battery or anything like that. Kmart Auto. Sick. Grand Island. This thing hasn't gone far in its life. What else did we get, huh? Kmart. Jess Waddell, Marcadia, Nebraska. Bought some tires. When'd you buy them tires, Jess? And road hazard, wow. I can't see a date. 303 bucks out the door though. Boy, that's pretty salty. Dang it. I wish I could see when that was. Oh well. Guardian maintenance. I'm sure that's all gimmicky crap. That's our road hazard. Sweet. Found a battery cable. I'm sure that's not foreshadowing. Everything else good? Not really. Big old bench seat. Oh no. Starter bolt. Back seat's not bad. No, aside from up top. What are you? You don't belong here. I have no idea. Whatever it is, it's full of dirt. Huh. Okay, not much else going on in here. Let's get into the trunk. He told me there were some goodies back here. Boy, he wasn't full of it either. Look at all this crap. Seat switch. Emblems. Boy, somebody must have parted out one of these things. Yeah, we got all sorts of junk. Tail panel. Is our tail panel messed up? Doesn't appear to be. Wheel opening trim, tail lights, grill. Ooh, sport mirrors, that's good. Headlights, blinkers, horn button. What have we got going on in here? License plate, frame, and hardware. Yeah, a bunch of body fillers. Sweet. Oh, there's a spare tire jack. Too bad we don't have a spare tire. Oh no. Scotch locks. Guaranteed taillights won't work now. Bonus. Check it out. You know it's a luxury car when there's a hood release inside the vehicle. Oh man. All of our stock goodness. 400. Yep, somebody wiped it off already. 400 cubic inch with a big fuzzy 4-barrel under that air cleaner. All right, what's our vitals look like? Yeah, antifreeze isn't too far down. I see a disconnected vacuum line, so somebody's been in here rooting around. Yeah, brand new oil too. Well, that's either great or bad. Well, I suppose I'll throw a battery in here, see if it'll crank. Dome lights on. This is gonna fight us. I bet it was fighting him, judging by the new terminal ends. Yeah. How about now? All right, well, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw a new battery cable on there because it's the right thing to do. I noticed 3 things under here, well, 4 really. The floors are really good, which makes up for the missing catalytic converter. It does actually have a turbo 400. Ooh, it's a short shaft even. Sweet. That's a bonus. And the oil pan's been painted. So you don't think this engine's been out, do you? Wouldn't that be a bonus? So yeah, we're running a open Y pipe. That's gonna sound great. Can't wait. All right, we got our red cable all hooked up. Let's hope that that's the one that we were having troubles with and the light's not on. Yeah, okay. It must be, oh, the negative cable. So that just goes to the head right there. Man. So you mean to tell me that this was a problem? No way. Okay, fine. I'll put a negative cable on it too. All right, 2 cables. Hey, I hear a door buzzer. We got a door buzzer. Park. Oh, it started. It started. Just like that. Oh my gosh. Why did it backfire like a gunshot? Let's take a look. Oh, probably our giant vacuum leak we have going on. That certainly can't help. Yeah, we got troubles everywhere. Okay, I'm gonna go grab 100 vacuum caps and we're gonna try this again. All right, we plugged 1, 2, 3, 4 vacuum leaks. Let's try it again. This should help our case. Oh yeah, immensely. Well, we got cruise on this thing too. We'll let him get some heat in him. So all we know is that we've got a half a tank and the brakes probably don't work. Dang it, no radio? That's a bummer. Cigarette lighter, come on. This is important. Nope. Okay. Oh yeah, brake pedal goes to the floor. Reverse. The brakes did pump up though. That transmission is not very strong. Either that or it could be low. Or it could be bad altogether because we didn't move. All right. Do we have brake fluid? Yes. So since we have fluid, we probably won't have brakes. There must be something majorly wrong. How about transmission fluid? Ooh, it's burnt. It's really, really black. Oh my gosh, I've never seen it so dark. Huh, okay, well. Never mind that idea. You know what? Let's throw some Lucas in it. We'll put some Lucas in it and see if we can bring it back to life. So I had two hoses back here pointing up. One was coming off of this, oh, I need to fix that. One was coming off of, well, I'll show you. One was coming off of this hose that went straight to full vacuum, and then the other one is coming off of this vacuum pot here. And those two both went up to a, what I assume is a thermal switch on the air filter. So we're gonna bypass that because I think these little pots here need to have vacuum. So we're just gonna run that little pot to full port vacuum and see if that makes it run any better. We're actively rebuilding our transmission with our Lucas and filling up that back tire. So we should be fit to be tied here pretty soon. Let's try it, huh? Let's give her a whirl. Oh yeah, it revved up a lot. Okay, maybe not a lot better. this, do I gain anything? Not really. It barely stops the car. Better than nothing. Oh, it's trying. It's thinking about getting there and drive. Looks like we're driving around in reverse, boys. Nope. Huh. Bummer. Okay, so I have done no other work to this thing after discovering the fuel leak. So we're gonna do the right thing and just test for compression on all of the spark plugs, or cylinders I should say, that we can access easily. So maybe all of them on the driver's side and maybe 2 of them on the passenger side, and just try to get a somewhat accurate reading as to the overall health of this engine. So we'll get the air cleaner off, get the plugs out, start cracking this thing over and see what it has to tell us. Alrighty, I got my compressor moved out of the way, and we have our power wire unhooked from our distributor, so we're not going to get any spark, which is good. And we have the carburetor throttle held wide open by those dikes there, which is pretty imperative to running a compression test because you need all the airflow through the carburetor that you can get. So we have it in cylinder number 1. Let's spin it over and see what we come up with. Check that out. Tick over 150. That is awesome. Hopefully it looks like that for the rest of them. Let's find out. All right, we have from 155 to 160. We got one more. Let's try it. Another 155. Hot dog. That's awesome. This is the single best compression reading I've ever had on a used engine. This is outstanding. So you usually want these numbers to be within 5–10% of each other, and this is incredibly even and healthy. I can't believe it. I feel safe saying that this thing has 71,000 on it. If it was any more than that, if it would roll over, there'd be no way that that compression reading with that would be that even. So we can safely say that if there's any reason this thing is running poorly, it's not because of the engine itself, it's because of something bolted to it. So I say let's take this thing out, huh? And then we'll fine tune it when it's in the Trans Am. Alrighty, I got the greasy 400 pulled out of that Grand Prix. We only managed to break 1, 2, 3 exhaust manifold bolts. That's all right, we'll manage. So I've got this heavy duty Zap degreaser I got at Menards. We're gonna give this a whirl. We tried that foam and junk and it seemed to work okay, but this is rated for even heavier stuff than that, allegedly. So we bought the big tub of it. We're gonna spray this guy down good, let him sit for a couple minutes, and then we'll hit it with the pressure washer and see how it turns out. Might be hard telling, but that got the bulk of it. So I think we'll do one more soak and spray, and that's probably gonna be good. That really did get probably 80% of the dirt and grime off of it. I'm pretty impressed. Cool. We'll give it one more bath and then we'll throw some gaskets at it. All right, I got the engine sprayed off for the, I don't know, third or fourth time, and it's looking as good as it's gonna look without getting really rough with it. So, fortunately for us, paint's gonna cover a lot of these sins. You can see here, we've got 400 on the block, and it's the, what is it, 500557? Yeah, 500557 block. It's a lightweight casting number. They've got what's called windowed mains, which is basically took a bunch of material out of the main cap area, but these things are good up to like 400 or 500 horse, and this thing in stock form probably makes like 200. So we don't have to worry about hurting it. All in all, cleaned up pretty good, but now we've got to deal with the inevitable, and that's getting out the 1, 2, 3 broken bolts. So we're going to start with the easiest one first, the one that we can get to. So how we're going to do that is we're going to take our torch and we're going to heat up this area here where the bolt is stuck. We're going to get that damn hot, and then we're going to put vice grips on here, see if we can spin it out with vice grips. Let's try that. Make sure I keep the torch away from that fuel pump that still has fuel in it. And we're just going to gently heat up that area of the head. We're not trying to heat up the bolt, we're trying to heat up where the bolt is stuck. Well, as you can see, I was unsuccessful. So now we're going to grind the top of that broken bolt flat, drill out the center of it, and then just like the two next to it, we're gonna try welding some nuts to it. Yeehaw! One of these years I'll drill a centered hole, but it ain't gonna start today. All right, so we got our bolt drilled out for the most part. We're gonna take a piece of junk wrench and use it to hold our 3/8 nut right there. And then we're gonna try to start welding at the very bottom of the hole, and then work our way out, and then fill in the nut eventually. All right, let's see if the GoPro can withstand this. That was about textbook, except for the fact that my nut slid down. All right, let it cool off. We'll see if we can spin it. Just like last time, this might take 100 tries, but we're gonna get it. Yeah, I don't think it bit this time. Maybe it did, but it seems like it's spinning way too good. It might be backing out. I don't know if it helps at all, but the impacting movement seems to help walk it out a little bit easier. If you just plumb crank on it, then they don't really, they seem like they want to snap off easier. But we're not getting that creaking sound like we usually get when we're backing off a stuck fastener. Typically they creak really loud. But I don't know, I see threads backing out, so maybe we got lucky on the first go around. I didn't even weld it on straight. I don't know. I think it's coming. At least part of it is. I don't know if all of it is, but part of it is at least. Look at that, huh? No need to fret. Damn it, I think we got it all. Sure seems that way, huh? Man, I'm the smartest man in the world. Hey, how about it, friends? Victory on the first try. Now, you think we can get so lucky as to do that 2 more times? There it is. There it all is. We got the whole shooting match out of there. All right, now to do that 2 more times. So I kind of messed up on this one. I got really close to the edge, close enough that I can see the threads on the inside of the bolt. So we're gonna do the right thing and try it anyways. Away we go. That wasn't so bad. There's 1, 2, and 3. Got them out. That one was 1 attempt. That was 2 attempts. And that one was 2 attempts. And I blame that mostly on me not getting the nut held still when I first started welding it. If I could have kept from shaking, then I probably would have got them all in 1 attempt. But hey, 2 attempts on 2 of them and 1 attempt on the first one ain't so bad. Well, I'm not gonna complain. Let this motor sit overnight, let all the water drip off of it, and next time we're gonna regasket it, and then we can finally paint it. All right, you guys pay attention to where all these brackets go, because I'm not gonna remember. Oh, that's not where that goes. We got these nifty hold downs. That's pretty cool. Good thing we've got 2 different sizes of hardware. We'll see how much of this stuff actually makes it back on here. Well, that wasn't very tight. Okay, let's see what kind of sins hide underneath. Ooh, man. It's gonna need some persistence. Goodness, you would have thought it's been on there 50 years or something. I have no idea if this engine's ever been apart. Ugh, gross. Oh, I don't want to do this again. Okay, we're getting the vacuum out. At least that's not bad. But damn it. It looks like it's pretty much limited to the top of the head. It's hard to see, but down in the valley doesn't look bad. So, we'll, yeah. We're gonna do the old hose on the shop vac trick and get all that sucked up. It doesn't work all that great, but it beats the alternative. It just takes forever. Okay. You get the point here. Alrighty. Got all the chunks cleaned up. It looks better. There's definitely surface rust, obviously. And it's probably going to take a few oil changes and heat cycles to break all this loose, but we'll just pay attention to it. This thing had just stellar compression, so I have a hard time believing that the engine is too hurt. And it really does look clean down inside. It was just, you know, the oil running off of it and the humidity sitting on top of the engine for so long is what did this, but I'm sure it'll be okay. Let's hope for something better on the other side. Come on. Hey, a lot better. Lot better. Except towards the back it's kind of ugly, but the front looks great. Well, we'll try to wrestle all these vacuum lines out of here. I really don't know how many of these lines we need. Probably not nearly as many as we have. But I'm gonna do the same thing up here. Then we'll start prepping our valve covers. That looks a little more tolerable. What are the odds of these gaskets just falling off of here? Now they're corked, so not very good. Okay, let's try the old, what do we want to try today? Razor blade? Oh, we got a piece. Come on. Nope, they're just gonna break. Okay, razor blade it is, I suppose. See if I can do this without going to the ER again. Yeah, little chunks at a time. I don't think there's anything sealing them on there, it's just decades. Just decades of being smushed together. If you know of a faster way to do something like this, let me know. I swear I spent half of my day trying to get rid of old gaskets. Gasket scrapers are alright, but gosh, for this kind of stuff, it would just crumble the cork into a million pieces, I feel like. Well, I'm having better luck just peeling it off my hands. Oh yeah, we're gonna be okay. Got some serious rust on them though. Not on the inside so much, but the rail. Yeah, this is gonna be okay. We got most of it. All right, let's try some sort of circularly rotating device to get the rest of it, huh? Try the scraper first. Oh yeah. That's not so bad. That really gets the majority of the chunks. Do yourself a favor and get some sort of carbide edged gasket scraper. Does a lot better on the little remnants than it does the big pieces. Gosh, it is hot out. It's dark and it's like 90. All right, we got a lot. Let's try the death wheel. Much better. All right, big pieces with the razor blade, remnants with this guy. The rail's all clean now. That's not so bad. Okay, it's pretty bad. There's all these little oil deflectors in there that are gonna make this pretty hard to get that cork out of, but let's go to the parts washer. We don't gotta work this hard. Let you sit for a bit, come back and scrub. I gotta change this oil in a bad way. This is getting yucky. Gotta give the valve covers a chance to dry a little bit. Anybody remember if these balancers need to be pulled off or not? Hopefully they're just keyed like the early ones. Nope. Oh, there we go. Nice, nice, nice. Woohoo. Look at all that blue silicone in there. See that? We got underlying problems. I don't know, but it's definitely been leaking out of there. All right, let's get that pulled out. I'm gonna try really hard to not damage the aluminum surround. There we go. He's out. Start the exercise by cleaning the area that we won't be able to get to after we do this. Okay, good enough. What we're really concerned about is where the seal rides inside of this cover here. We want that to be clean. Exceptionally clean. Ooh, is that our troubles or is that casting? I can't tell if that's a crack or just flashing. It's just flashing. It doesn't go into the machine surface, so we're fine. Good, because I wasn't gonna replace that anyways. I put a light, emphasis on light, layer of silicone around the outer edge. You don't gotta get nuts with it. Alright, now we'll just block them in. Golly, that thing wanted to do nothing but walk. Hope it stays in there now. So I don't want to do this again. Oh man. Okay. Well, this surface doesn't look all that whippy. So, let's take it to the wire wheel. Do everything that we can to prevent this surface from tearing up our new seal. Nice. Check that out. Okay, it's got some gouges, but we're gonna run it anyways. I'm gonna put a coat of engine oil on here. Lightly now. Don't need a lot. Just enough to help it slide into that seal. Line up our keyway. Wherever that went. Tight. Bam. All right. This gets engine oil as well. No Loctite. Run it in. All right, I'm gonna check the torque spec. Pardon me. I was wrong. Apparently that gets thread locker and 160 foot-pounds. Fine, I guess we'll do that then. Sprinkle some blue Loctite on there. Ooh, way too much. In this case, blue is medium strength. Man, those threads are kind of beat. Apparently the threads on everything I have are kind of beat. Even my Loctite. I got a screwdriver on the back of the crank that'll hopefully hold it still, but we'll see. Nope. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, maybe. All right, 160. That seems like a bunch. I don't like that. Something's moving. Hopefully it's my screwdriver. I gotta be right in there. There we go. All right, back it off. Just so my screwdriver can come out. There we go. 160. So I've got pretty good luck with this here. I'm putting high tack on the back side of this valve cover. And this is some super gooey stuff if you're not familiar with it. This cork valve cover gasket's going to stick to this thing and it'll never come off in one piece ever again. So that's going to help ensure that we get a really good seal, because we don't want our valve cover gasket slipping off the rail and then not sealing once we've got it installed. A little bit of this goes a long ways. You just need enough to cover the surface. It doesn't need to get really thick. Also, if you get this stuff on your clothes, it's never coming off. Crap's on there for life. All right. There we be. If you anticipate taking the gasket or taking this valve cover off again in the near future, put Vaseline or brake grease or something on the back side of this gasket where it touches the head, so that it'll come off easy and it won't rip the gasket. But I'm not too worried about that. I don't think we're gonna have a reason to take the valve cover off again while we have the engine. There you go. Great, it looks like an engine again. Well, let's flip them over, because we've got to do the dreaded oil pan gasket. If you want to make sure your engine's void of any liquids, just flip it over and you'll for sure get everything back out. Got some custom work going on here, but it doesn't look like it leaked, so we'll run with it. Looks like these are all 7/16 fasteners, so we'll get them zipped off and see what's laying in the sump here. Make sure you drop the bolts down into your cylinder head. There we go. Come on, baby. Smells like dinosaurs in there. I'd say an allowable amount of sludge. Not too bad. Wonder if we can tell if these pistons are originals or not. I don't know if it was the crank or the cam that got the nylon gears on these things, but judging by the blue silicone, we've been inside of this already. We should also see if we can clean some of that gunk out of that screen there. That doesn't excite me very much. Other than that, I don't see anything alarming. Alright, I'm gonna stick that in the parts washer and let it run for a couple days probably, and then we'll work on cleaning this up. Let's try the old vacuum trick on the oil pickup again. Oh yeah, that works great actually. If I can get it far enough in there, that is. But we're really getting the bulk of it. The bulk of it that I can see. Well, at least what I can see, we got cleaned up. Cool. Look how stuck all this is on there. Not too bad. It's pretty crispy. It's really crispy. Yeah, this is gonna come off in small pieces. So I'm gonna tape off that bank of exhaust ports and we're gonna get the chipping away at this crap. Everything we chip off, we're gonna try to chip away to the outside so that it doesn't fall down into the engine. That's the last thing that we want. Just like that. It's coming off in good sized pieces, but we're gonna have to go over it again with the scraper to get it all. That one landed square in my shoe. Some pieces are still pretty well affixed on there. But our rear main seal is gone, and up front you can tell how this seal's all wet. Looks like it'd been leaking. All right, we're gonna do this to the entire thing. Now for the fun, time-consuming part. Scraping. We're just gonna follow exactly where that old gasket was all the way around, and again try to scrape everything to the outside of the engine, not down into the bottom of it. We don't want any more foreign particulates in there than we've already got. Like that piece that just fell down in there. Yeah, don't do that. You want to pay really close attention to the corners here where this gasket's going to meet the main seal and where it's going to meet the timing cover. We need this area to be really clean so we can put our TV in there and it's going to seal. Being how the inside of a pan's a lot easier to clean than the inside of the engine, we're going to make it easy on ourselves. Alright, we'll do a wipe down, then we're ready to slam some gaskets on it. Our next step is to assemble the pan gasket on the pan. So I'm not independently wealthy, so I chose the 4-piece gasket set, which is going to work. It just takes a little bit more effort. I'm also going to use silicone on here on the entire thing. Now, you may not want to, but I'll tell you why I'm going to. I'm dealing with a 50-year-old tin oil pan that isn't exactly flat. So I am going to apply a small amount of silicone to the metal surfaces. I'm not going to go nuts, because if you go nuts, that silicone is going to splooge out it's going to break off and it's going to end up down on the bottom of your pan, and you do not want that. So I'm going to use just enough to cover this surface area here. I'm not going to go nuts. I'm not going to make a bead. I'm just going to put on enough for it to cover this area here, and the gasket is going to stick to it. It's ugly, but it'll fly, and as you can see, that's just a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. That's barely anything. All right, so let's put our cork gaskets on, and we'll put our end gaskets on. These rear main gaskets are pretty trick. They've got these little alignment tabs that go through the pan. Something you really need to pay attention to is you've got to have plenty of silicone where these gaskets meet. You can see we had enough in there, splooged out. Had to add a little more in these corners up here. You really need to be able to fill in that gap. So now we're going to take our little dongers here and put them in their correct locations. This will help hold everything together. There we be. All right, now we're gonna do it a little bit differently, but we're just gonna take our finger and we're just gonna go like that with a thin layer of silicone all the way around. We gotta maintain our beads in the corners though, because that's gonna fill in our gap where it meets the timing cover and where it meets the main cap. We didn't put a bead down on it, we just put a thin layer on it. Just enough to turn that gasket black. All right, let's drop them down on there. This is almost more nerve-wracking than head gaskets. It's down. It's fairly lined up. All right, let's put some bolts in it just to get it kind of aligned, and then we'll smash it down. This thing's gonna take a whole can just to do the intake. We're just doing it all. We got some GM 1608 blue paint. I think that's GM corporate blue. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's gonna be the wrong engine anyways. We're gonna go heavy on it. If we go heavy, we might be able to cover up all of the dirt we didn't get off of it. I'm really concerned. You like apples? How about them apples? Don't mind that fuel pump, we're gonna replace that, but I'd say it looks pretty good enough to go in a $4,500 Trans Am. Not that, is that what I paid for it? Golly, I can't remember what I paid for that thing. I don't know. I don't remember anymore. It's gonna be right at home in that thing though. This is gonna be so much better than the 301. Here's the animal. 1980 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Pretty good shape for its age. It got into a front end collision, unfortunately, which messed up the paint on the bumper, but it's decently optioned. I mean, it's a T-top car. We've got hobnail interior, AC, the deluxe interior door panels, but nothing really that crazy. I mean, we got regular steel wheels, we got a straight column, and we have the dreaded 301 engine. Now, this thing runs okay, but that 301's got a big problem. Yeah, as you can see there, not much for oil pressure in the old girl. This thing was stuck when I bought it. I got it unstuck, but it had a lot of moisture from sitting over the years in the engine, and I think that the rust chunks probably came apart and got into the bearings. Either that or they plugged the oil pickup screen and starved it for oil. It's getting oil to the top end. I can see it flowing across the top of the head, but it's not enough. And you probably couldn't hear it, but right when I started that, I heard a tick. Either a tick or maybe even a knock. So the 301's got to go. That 400 is going to be a lot more at home here. As you can see, completely stock, dingy. I guess it's an AC car. It's got that going for it. Not hooked up, of course, but everything else is there. And I've worked on this 301 way more than I ever wanted to. And even if I put new bearings in it, it's still not going to perform well. So the best thing I can do is yank that, put that 400 in. It's almost a direct swap. I gotta change some things on the shaker to make that work, but it shouldn't be awful. So I suppose we'll get the hood yanked off and let's get to it. If you've seen any of my videos at all when I do this, you know that I am nuts about marking the bolt locations for these things. Oh gosh, come on, there we go. Especially on these F bodies when there's so much room for adjustment. It is imperative that you put them back in the right spot. The way these shakers are held on is both sleek and annoying. Got this band clamp that holds the fiberglass top to the air filter, and then the air filter just has a wing nut. Not really convenient for the, you know, side of the road. Take the shaker off, look down the carburetor. So you got one of these, keep a 5/16 nut driver with you. Figured it'd be a nice gesture to film my death for you guys. Tell you what, I had just put that radiator in too, so we're gonna recycle this to the best of our abilities. Hope this is hot. Oh, no, more like a hot tub temperature. Yeah, body temp. It's under some pressure though. Okay, we'll just let that bleed off. Okay, so you see this next part's really easy. All you gotta do is remove all of the 50 things that hold this engine into this car. So we got the carb off, we got our 5 miles of vacuum lines mostly removed. We gotta do the fan, we're draining the antifreeze. We need to disconnect our distributor, gonna lay the AC compressor off to the side, disconnect the AC wiring, the starter wiring, the alternator wiring, all the sensors, and whatever else we forget. Oh, power steering, of course. Yeah, we'll just lay that off to the side. Yeah, and then whatever else we want to test the tensile strength of. Yeehaw. So, super fun fact. These 8301s have a bunch of metric hardware on them. I didn't really remember that, but once I started getting into like that AC compressor and the alternator over here, I was unpleasantly reminded of that fact. So I guess I got to keep track of what's metric and what's standard, but as far as I can tell, I think that I've got everything unhooked that I can do from the top. So time to go underneath. The way that radiator and the shroud goes together is kind of a poor patent, because you basically have to drop the radiator and the shroud down in there when they're together, because there's not enough room to pull that shroud up with the radiator still sitting in its home. All right, let's get some elevation under this thing and see what else we can miss. So I'm not saying it caused it, but it sure didn't help. That's the second oil pan that I've had on this car. There you can see my pretty gaskets next to my dingy piece of junk oil pan. The original rusted out from the outside in. The very bottom of the sump had 3 pinholes in it that it developed while I was driving it down the highway. Saw a cloud of smoke behind me, and I got the thing shut off before it lost all of the oil and oil pressure, so I don't know if that was the cause, but certainly didn't help. And I put that thing in while the engine was in the car. That sucked a high, hard one. I did it. Okay, what do we gotta do? Starter, exhaust again. Thank God I had the wherewithal to put never sees on there. It's almost like I knew I was gonna be doing this again. Oh gosh, what else? Starter, motor mounts, zip our exhaust off. What's left of it, gosh, this thing is hanging on by hopes and dreams, and mainly the catalytic converter is like the only form of muffler it has. As this just goes to, you know, the vast nothingness where a transverse muffler used to be at. Where's this thing leaking so bad out of though? It's got a mean ATF leak. That around the linkage is pretty bad. This side ain't anything to write home about either. I don't know. It left a literal trail of ATF out in my garage. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it the pan gasket because the entire pan is super wet. And I'm gonna take the pan off anyways because that's how I want to drain the ATF. So yeah, we're gonna have a real bloodbath mixed with antifreeze by the time we're done, but that's okay. Son of a gun. Anyhow, I think we got everything managed. Drive shaft is out. Everything on the transmission is disconnected. There's 2, count them 2, body grounds over there. One is a cable, one is just stranded. Got the transmission linkage, the reverse linkage, the exhaust is dropped down. Transmission mounts are taken out, starters out, engine mount bolts are out. I can't think of anything else that we need to deal with down here. So let's hook the engine hoist to it and figure out what we forgot. Frickin' seriously though, this is like one of the cleaner T-top cars I've ever had. This is like way nicer on the bottom of the Trans Am than I'm actually keeping. Toe boards look good. Surface rust right there, but nothing major. Other side's nice. I can't tell if it's undercoated or if that's just decades on decades of oil leaking. Oh, we got a little bit right here below our seat bottom. Probably a mouse nest in there that sat for too long. Spring pockets look really good. Frame rails are awesome. Yeah, pretty freaking outstanding. Pretty clean. I would have to say that this is, what does this thing have on it? 60 something, 80 something? I don't know, less than 100,000. And I'd have to believe it. It's got surface rust back there like they all get. This thing sat a while, allegedly, and I believe it. All right, let's get that little 301 yanked out. So what was the first year for the 301? I think it was 79. This thing is an 80. And gosh, what was it, in 78? They quit building the 400. And then in 79, they used up all of them that they had left. So in 79, you could get a wide array of engines in these things. And a Trans Am, you could get, gosh, what was it, a 305 in California, and then this piece of junk 301, a 403, and a 400. And I really need to think before I try to rip my entire wiring harness out. In 80, they did away with the 400 altogether. You couldn't get it anymore. And they introduced this nifty little engine called the 301 Turbo, which, gosh, if you thought these regular 301s are bad, just let me introduce you to a turbo block. Terrible engines, terrible idea. Pontiac's swan song, basically. Where does this wire go? Don't worry about that yet. Yeah, so 79 was the last year that you could get a real engine in a Trans Am. But you could still get a real Pontiac engine. It wasn't really real, just a Pontiac engine in the most literal sense of the term, but it was a 301. What did the turbos come with? Was that 200 horsepower? I think so. And then I think this one here is 145. I think. I can't remember. Can't remember everything, guys. Well, let's figure out where this is going. Okay, we've got no other wires hooked to that ground. That's good. Just tuck you in there for now. Everything else is looking okay. Got all of our wires away except for this one. How are you clipped in there? What is this, oil pressure? We don't want to know what that is anyways. What in the wide world of sports? There we go. All right, we'll get the one on the other side. I suppose we'll look at the other side too and see what's going on. Don't ask me about those tranny cooler lines, please. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, that's his R. Oil pressure sender. It'd be nice to have that. There we go. Is this loose? Yeah, that ground strap is loose. There's 3 ground straps on these engines. 2 braided ones and 1 rubber coated one. So far so good. Oh, we don't need to run that into the condenser. Oh, it's getting tight. Oh, what is that? Antifreeze? You never get all the antifreeze out. Oh, this is not a good approach here. Not good, friends. So I think we'll do the right thing and shove it in there a little bit further and then keep jacking until the balancer is past the... No, it's not gonna get past. Well, what the flip, Kip? Those are both disconnected. It's gonna get to the point where we're gonna be lifting the car up if I keep going. I did not have this on my bingo card. Ugh. Okay. So either I take the air pump off or I take the air pump off. Looks like I take the air pump off because I don't want to drop this thing back in place and grab it again. Friggin' 301s, man. Yeah, so I'm lazy and we're just playing a dangerous game of Jenga. This motor's just sitting there. We'll take that bolt out, we'll give that chain a little more length, and then we're gonna be okay. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's like 11 o'clock at night and I really don't care what happens right now. I'm tired, I've been up since 4. It's probably gonna turn into another one of them scenarios where we need to lower the car around the engine again, because we're gonna run out of throw. Okay, you little bugger. It's okay, that's just our exhaust. Gosh, who put this there? We gotta get our I got our cooler lines out of the way mostly. They make new ones. Talk about a great inauguration for our brand new Harbor Freight cylinder here. Oh, that's the sound of antifreeze again. Gosh, that's a lot of antifreeze. that's a shitload of antifreeze. Yeah, that's in case you're wondering, that's where it's coming from. As soon as I got my plug, it stopped leaking, so we'll take that as a sign. I think everything's coming though. Oh, we got a lot of throw left on this, geez. Oh, just kidding. I can hear it leaking again. There we go. It's doing the same thing again. What is this, Butterfinger? Oh yeah, brother. Ooh, get that out of here, Jeffrey. You need that wiring. Everything else is okay. Yeah, just lots of antifreeze. Don't care. That's what they make floor dry for. What could I have done differently here? Not bought this Trans Am, I guess. That would have been a great start. Ooh, hello, darling. That thing about came over to say hi to my head. Hey, you can't really see it, but this one says 301 turbo on the side of it too. I think a lot of them did. A lot, if not all. In 80 and 81. That's just our AC wiring. We don't need that, but I don't want to bang that box up because it's fiberglass. I gotta quit buying these non-running. Ooh, ouch. Cars. Okay, so come my way and please don't bang that AC compressor into the fender. The other my way, I guess. I gotta get one of them swivel and hooky deals. Coming along though. Alright, let's see if we can upset this engine hoist. Shove it right into the floor drain behind us. You just stay there. Okay, come on. Oh, this is a lot of fun one-handed. Long ram. Okay. Guess you wanted to be in that direction. No. Don't hit my fender. Let's get away from here as soon as possible. Okay, you poor car, you're finally absolved of this awful engine. Okay, cool. What fun. So the most excellent part about the 301 to 400 swap is that like everything is the same as far as this stuff goes. Like nothing on that engine is the same as a 400. Nothing at all. But this stuff is all ready to go. Everything's in the right spot already. Yet to be seen if I can use the same carb or the exhaust for that matter. I really hope I can use that, well, what's left of that exhaust, but everything else the same, transmission's the same, all that fun stuff. Okay, I'm tired. Let's go to bed. Round 2 today, ladies and gents. I don't know which video is going to be up first, but also got the video on the white 63 Bonneville 4-door hardtop that was just in here a couple hours ago doing the same thing to it. So trying to get two knocked out at once. There's a lot of jockeying around with the trailer, but it's okay. It's a good life. I'm not going to complain. The days that I keep my gratitude higher than my expectations, I have really good days. Bonus points if you can name who said that. Well, much like that Bonneville, this doesn't look too bad, so I think we're just gonna run it as is. I can honestly live with this, and especially once we get a pretty new engine in there, nobody's gonna notice, you know, the little imperfections. I think that it would look, you know, more tackier and out of place if I did try to touch it up versus leaving it alone. So back to working on my most favorite thing in the world, poopy old exhaust manifolds. So let's start it off easy with this guy here. So this one probably only goes into the manifold to about there. Let's try heating up this area with the torch, getting it red hot, putting some vice grips on here. We'll see if we can back it out. These two here are gonna require, oh gosh, well, that one's through at least. Still, that's gonna suck a high hard one. Okay, we'll get some heat in this manifold first with this one, see how that treats us. All right, we got this torch on kill mode. We're gonna go pretty nuts, pretty aggressive with this. Maybe if I had half a brain, I'd leave this stud in here since the threads are still good, but I've got a new stud kit, so hell with it. We'll try to get them out of there. So we're more so trying to get the area around the bolt broke free. We're trying to heat the area around it instead of the bolt itself. Yeah, not surprised. It broke off at the skinny part, so let's see. What should we try now? Should we try drilling it out? It might be there. We'll try it with the heat one more time. No promises though, eh? Check it. I hope it's the whole thing that's loose and not just half of it. We're just gonna keep working it nice and easy. Nice and easy. Don't want to get nuts. Yeah, it might be broke off. Check it, we're walking it out. It's coming, we got a couple threads above there now. I'm gonna throw some more heat at it. Looky there, ladies and gents, we got it. Still threads in there even? How could we get so lucky? There's the animal. Right there, that didn't come out too bad once it started going. These other two though, especially that little one, that's gonna be difficult. What am I kidding? Both of them are gonna be difficult. All of them are gonna be difficult. I don't know what's gonna be worse. This thing, since it goes all the way through, since we got rust on both sides, I don't know. But this one's close to us, so let's try that one next. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna get it really hot. And then we're gonna try to bite it with the vice grips and see how that treats us. Then there were two. That one's got nice threads too. That one came out a lot easier. We just had to, I just had to do one pass of heat on it and it came out. Maybe now that we got a lot of heat in this manifold, that third one will come out nicely, but we'll see. I mean, at least if we break it, we've got two different ways that we can spin it out, so there's a silver lining there, I guess. Check it. 3 out of 3 so far. That's a good feeling. Part of me hates doing this stuff and part of me kind of enjoys the challenge. I'm glad that I'm at least winning on this manifold. What's this other one look like though? Dig you out of the parts pile. Oh, this one's not gonna be as bad. I hope that our new studs are long enough. Yeah, because we really just have one broken one. Wow, look at us go, eh? We're winning at life. All 3 are out. Didn't even have to break out the welder. We did it all with the torch. These spun out pretty easily as compared to the other one. So, I guess. Wire wheel them, clean them, spray them. I'll probably run a tap through these, clean up the threads, especially on that one since we kind of got that one nuclear hot, but this should fly. Check out these brand newish looking exhaust manifolds. I ran the part numbers. I wanted to make sure that these Grand Prix manifolds would fit in that little guy, and it appears that way because I ran these part numbers, and these are being called W72 exhaust manifolds, as in like a 77 to 79 W72 400 Trans Am. So I don't know if they're more high flow than a regular 400 manifold. Is there a regular 400 manifold, or are they all W72 manifolds? I don't know. But after running that part number, that makes me feel a lot better that they're actually going to fit in this thing. So I had no idea. You know, I tried to eyeball them against these 301 manifolds, and you know, the outlets look like they're in the same spot. I just really hope that the factory exhaust, well, what's left of the factory exhaust, is going to fit on them. If not, I still have the wide pipe off of that Grand Prix. So worst case scenario, I can use that. We need to clean up this transmission because normally I wouldn't even mess with trying to get it cleaned, but golly, this one is filthy. As you can see, it kind of looks like it's leaking everywhere. I can see it's leaked out of that corner, just sitting here on the floor, so I don't know if the pan gasket is gone or if it's the dipstick O-ring. At any rate, I should really replace both of them. I can't tell if the output shaft seal is bad. That's something that we can worry about later. And once we get it off this 301, we'll be able to look at the input shaft seal too. Input shaft is probably fine. Output, this whole transmission looks like a coral reef, including the seal. So I don't know what to expect there, but at any rate, I'll get this sucker hosed off and see if I can get the 45 whatever years of dirt and grime off of it. How beautiful. Now you can see that this thing used to be made out of aluminum. All right, what do we got to do to this sucker before we drop it in? I'm thinking that all we have to do is put manifolds on it. We'll leave the filter. I don't want to put a new filter on it yet because I don't want to bang it up. I should have painted that fuel pump better because that thing actually works, and we're going to try to run with it, I think. Of course, spark plugs are painted. I got new ones, don't worry. I think that's all. I think it came out like this. It can go in like this. Well, aside from manifolds, of course, but yeah, I think we just need to shove manifolds on them and we're good to go. So this thing had like how many broken manifold bolts? 6? I don't remember. So we need, what, 6 per side? 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, 5, 6. Nice. I'll have to dig through this pile here. Hopefully there's a couple. Is that a manifold bolt? Feels crispy like a manifold bolt. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Okay, so we gotta scare up like 4 more of them bolts. We can do that. Dang it, looks more like an engine already. Yeah, I think that's as far as we need to go with it before we put it in. Anything else we need to do here? Not really. We'll replace those fuel hoses once we get everything together. We gotta get this thing up on jack stands. Firstly, we gotta get that mated to that. So let's make a bloodbath and take these two apart. If you're wondering how much ATF is in a torque converter, that's about 1 bag of floor dry worth. So we gotta get that converter off. We gotta get a Flexplate on him. I forgot about that. I don't like reusing Flexplate bolts, but yeah, we're gonna live dangerously today. We got the Flexplate that came off of the Grand Prix. So this engine originally, we're gonna put some Loctite on there, medium strength. We're gonna torque these suckers to 95 foot-pounds, which only scares me a little bit being these are old brittle bolts, but yeah, that's what it calls for, right? We're gonna go with it. No guts, no glory. size are these? 5/8, 11/16, 12 points at any rate. We'll do a couple steps. We'll do whatever the lowest value on our torque wrench is, probably 30 or so. Then one step halfway between, and then 95. I did 50, 70, and now 95. In a star pattern, just like you're putting on a wheel. There we go. I usually don't reuse flex plates, but this one's in really good shape, it appears. I also took a wire wheel on my drill, cleaned out the inside of this crank here because the snout of our torque converter needs to slide in there nicely. This is a dang important step. We need to seat the torque converter. I'm gonna add a little more ATF to this converter because it makes me feel good. You really don't want these things to be dry. Not that ours was by any means, not any stretch of the imagination. Now it's probably overly full. Oh, there's gonna be 3 clicks of engagement that you're gonna feel. Two, 3. There's 3 steps of engagement. So when, at least with these stock converters, when they're all the way engaged, they're gonna be about, these mounting pads are gonna be about 2 finger widths in from the outside edge of the case. Cool. And these shouldn't have much up and down slack once they're fully engaged. Now, this hub on the end of the converter is going to seat on the inside of the crank snout, so that'll take up any play that there is. Now we can put this and the engine together. I'm going to also add a little bit of oil and grease right here, just to help with the seating. Okay, we kept the converter engaged while we're getting everything lined up here. We just gotta start the alignment dowels. Shimmy and shake it. There we go. Run some bolts into him. One of these had these poopy little ground straps on there. I think it was this bottom one here. We won't forget our ground straps. We don't want troubles. We don't want problems. Okay, and then our top ones had wire clips. I think they faced that direction. Don't pay any attention to the floor dry stuck on them or anything like that. Oh man, my clip's going the wrong way. Come here, little buddy. I hate to do any of this wrong. I think that's all that we had. Yeah. Good, we still have space in between our torque converter and our flex plate. You don't want the two of them to be tight up against each other, because then you're going to be bottoming your torque converter out in the pump, and you don't want that. We're just going to use the driver to get everything seated. And we'll get it all with a ratchet. something wet down on that bottom bolt, but I could be full of it. There we go. Everything's stuck together nice. And our converter still spins. So now we just need to run our bolts into our converter. We're in good shape. As you can see right here, we have probably a 1/4 inch gap in between the flex plate and the torque converter, and that is exactly what you want. So when we tighten the torque converter bolts, it's going to draw it into the flex plate. It's also going to draw the snout into the hub of the crankshaft and center everything. So that'll be just dandy. That's exactly where we want to be at. We're going to put some blue Loctite medium strength on these bolts as well and get them as tight as we can. So super fun fact, 301 motor mounts bolt on. We're about to find out if they fit or not, but they at least bolt on. Side by side, the dimensions look the same, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's try to mitigate grabbing any important wires on our way down. You know, like the coil and the tack wire. Is anything else in the way? That's not yet in the way. What's all this stuff? Air conditioner. It's not really important. Is that a wire nut? No. Yes? No. Why are we so far off to one side? There we go, now we're a little more in line. Let's go down until we rub the radiator support. Bink. There we go. You gotta get in your hole. Knew that was gonna happen. Okay. You're kind of in line now. You stay there. Can we get any more action out of this thing? No. Okay, we'll go down again. Make sure we poke a hole in our pan. Okay, we're gaining a little. I really hope that the transmission just magically slides onto its mount. That'd be super cool. I'm gonna give myself a black eye doing this, but it seems to be working. Keep our giant ground wire from snagging anything. That's our alternator wiring. We need that. That's non-negotiable. So since I can't really spin my leveler anymore, I'm having to push up and forward on the engine at the same time to get the transmission to nosedive. I'd really like it if these wires all stayed over here. That'd be nice. Stuff's a lot of fun to do on your own. Hey, it's doing what we want it to do. So close. can bring it down a lot. Ooh, easy. I don't want to shove my oil sender through my firewall box. No, we're a long ways away from that. We got to get our transmission snout up and over our mount. You see, that's why we kept that used oil filter on there, because we're banging the snot out of it right now. I'm able to use the leveler to get this at more of a stock angle. We're still up pretty high, but we should be able to go in quite a ways now. Yeah, we're probably, yeah, we're really close. What are we gonna hit over here? So that's our AC box. There we go. Go down some more. That's just on my major wiring. I don't need any of that. We're going kind of crooked here, but that mounts about perfectly in line. Yeah, we're making it. We are making it. There we go. So our approach is straight. Just need to go in another inch. Yeah, about another inch. How far can we go down? We can go down about a ½ inch. Go down a ½ inch, go back, and then we should be dropping it. We gotta go. There we go. Do the twist. Yeah. Go down. Oh, no, 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 no. Shoot. Hope we didn't just squash our entire main engine wire harness. We got to get that above the valve cover. I shouldn't have let that happen in the first place. I think we're okay. Yeah, I try to preach paying attention and then I forget all about it. Oh, geez, we gotta go way back. There we are. I think it just sat down there. Starting to sit. There we go. A little look under here. Like we're lining up. I think we just have to go down now. Yeah, we're using all the original motor mounts. There we are. That filled up the engine bay quite nicely. Cool. Just the way God intended. Freaking sweet. How do we look underneath? All right, there we are. There's our holes. Cool. I can't tell if that one can sit down farther or not. We are in like sin. Okay, now we just have a million other things to do. Let's get our engine mount and our transmission mount bolts started first. That way we know that we're in and we don't need the hoist anymore, and we can get that out of the way. As you can see, I kind of fast forward a little bit, but save you the boring stuff. I really wanted to talk about the things that I used that were original to this 301 Trans Am and the pieces that we took off of the 77 Grand Prix where the 400 came out of. And this is mainly concerning the bracketry and stuff like that. So it started the transmission. We still have the turbo 350 from the Firebird, but we're using the Flexplate that came with this 400. I don't know if the 301 and 400 Flexplates are weighted differently, so I just opted to use the 400. We've got the 400 starter on it. All of these front accessories are from the 400 with exception of the fan. That was able to be used off the 301, thankfully, because I put a new clutch on it. And the power steering pump itself was from the 301, but I had to take the brackets, the front and the rear brackets, off of the 400 pump and use it. Also, another goofy thing to pay attention to is the fact that the 301 uses a bunch of metric hardware and the 400 is all standard. So we have our 400 exhaust manifolds, of course, along with our Y-pipe, exhaust Y-pipe from the Grand Prix. Also used our temp sender and our oil pressure sender from the Grand Prix. I wanted to use the 301 carb originally. Fun fact, all these quadrijets are either 750 or 800 CFMs, so not that big of a difference. But the reason I had to use the 400 carb was the fact that the 301 carb did not have a provision for the vacuum tee on the back of it. I could have drilled it out, but for sake of time, we're running the 400 carb and we're gonna hope that it works well. What else? Ignition stuff is interchangeable. I don't know about the distributor base, but cap and rotor is interchangeable. We're using the same radiator hoses off the 301, which is great because I replaced those as well. We're using the 400 starter. This AC compressor is just bolted to the bottom bracket. It's not actually hooked up to anything. It's not going to work anyways. It's growly, and I'm not going to go through the effort. What else, huh? Something that we need to address still is the exhaust. We just have the Y-pipe on there right now, and I need to find a throttle and kick down cable bracket for a 400. I've got one for the 301, but it doesn't bolt up the same way. I need to find it for a 400 carb with a turbo 350 because our Grand Prix did not have the kick down cable because that was a turbo 400 car originally. I think that's all I have to say about that. I've got gas in the carb. I filled it up through the vent bowl and inevitably splashed it everywhere. I've got all my fluids topped off for now. We're gonna have to watch antifreeze, that's gonna plummet, but otherwise I think we're ready to rip. So we just don't have a kickdown cable. We need to adapt the shaker still to the 400 base, and I need exhaust. And yeah, I need to put a hood back on too. So I'm gonna hook up the battery and see what kind of noise we can get this to make. Don't let me step in that. I know I will. If I can get it to run long enough. From the oil gauge, I hope that's not accurate. I don't want to do that again. No big leaks underneath. Let's see if I can see oil down there. Yeah, we got oil on top of the head. Okay, partners, it's a new day. Let's see if we have any accelerator pump action. I never even really checked that, I don't think. Did I? I don't remember. Oh, I can hear it. Well, our choke is shut, so looks like we may be able to set our choke there, eh? Put the dipstick in, that's a handy piece of information. And top the antifreeze off. Let's see what we got now. This battery's weak. If it doesn't start like right away, I'm just hosed. Maybe I should have charged that, you know, when I had all night to wait. No, I'm impatient. Okay, talk to me. wasn't working. Opposite of what I want. Let's get that ladybug out of there. This is like 90% old coolant. Not old, I swapped the radiator in this thing. So I just put the coolant back in it that I had. We're getting bubbles, boys. Get some smoke because we gotta burn paint off these manifolds. That brought us up to about 50 psi. Gonna put you back on and we'll watch the temperature. Now this thing is getting hot. We're gonna shut it down. It must have air in it, so either it's got air in it or the thermostat is stuck. One of the two. We'll let it sit, let it cool off, open the cap, and check our level because it really just probably needs to burp. We got some heat in the thing. It maintained oil pressure once it got warm, so that's a great sign. I was wondering about that, but I think we're gonna be okay. We'll try again in a little bit. So the engine's cool. We got our antifreeze topped off, got the ATF topped off, and I added about a little less than a quart of Marvel mystery oil to the oil in an attempt to kind of get our valve train to quiet down. Also, I'm glad to see that we no longer have a transmission that's just hemorrhaging fluid. That's an excellent sign. This thing is plumb cold. It sat overnight. Let's see what it thinks. Set the choke. It kind of set. Ooh. Do we not have accelerator pump? It sure sounded like we did. That's way too much. As much smoke as last time, it seems. Excellent sign. We'll let it warm up. We'll watch our oil pressure and see what it does. Also our antifreeze, because it just tanked. We're in better shape now. got 183, 184 on that side, 180 or so on the other side. Seems like our thermostat's open, that's nice. Alright, so I got the thing running alright. The lifter tick went away. I put, what, a quart of Marvel in here. Let it run, got it good and warm. Tick went away, dropped the oil, put 50 weight in it, VR1. That's got zinc in it. I know this thing does not have an accelerator pump, so I got to work on that. I'm just gonna, the thing runs almost flawlessly otherwise, besides not having an accelerator pump. So we're gonna go about this the easy way. We're just gonna take the top off of the carburetor, leave the rest of it bolted on, not even touch it. And all we're gonna replace is the accelerator pump, and that's all. But I gotta say, I did the rear brakes on this thing because the wheel cylinders were bad, and I put all new lines on it as well, because of course they snapped off at both the rubber line and the wheel cylinders. I'm sorry, it's a late night again, as you can see. But of course it did the thing where, you know, GMs do, where it trips the proportioning valve. And I did not know enough about these proportioning valves until I really just sat down and decided to figure it out tonight. So, proportioning valves, it controls, it's right here on this Firebird, it controls brake fluid flow to the front brakes and the rear brakes. And what it is designed to do is, if you blow a front brake line, it will send all the fluid to the rear brakes so that you don't lose any more fluid, and vice versa. So when GM built these, they had the foresight to put this little button on the side of the proportioning valve to reset the valve, because inside of this valve is a piston that goes back and forth depending on which brake blew. And if you blow a front brake line, you can use this button here to reset the proportioning valve so that you have equal flow to all the brakes again after, you know, you fix your it's so hard to say, blown brake line. But if you blow a rear brake line, which is essentially what we did here, because we had to re-bleed the back brakes because there's no fluid in them, so it essentially thought we had a blown rear brake line. There's no easy way to reset this from the outside. What you have to do is you have to take off this switch that goes into the top of this proportioning valve, and with a pick or something similar, you need to push that piston inside of that valve back over to its default position, to where, I believe, to where this isn't making contact, because this little copper dealio here is what trips the brake light. So it's a lot easier to explain or make sense of if you see a cutaway visual representation of one of these valves, to which I didn't really look hard at until tonight, but I was tired of these brakes not working well. I assume only the fronts were working, and I was able, with this very, very long skinny pick, I was able to push that piston in there over bit by bit to where I think that I have it centered again. So I'm gonna put my switch back in, and a lot of people call this your brake light switch. Well, it ain't your brake light switch on these things, it's your brake warning switch. Your brake lights are gonna work whether or not this switch is plugged in. All this switch controls is the warning light on the dashboard. So it's, I wish I could show you better with the camera, but I can barely see it with my eyeballs what I was doing. Another thing you can do is you can take off this brake line that's on the very end here. I can at least show you that. The one on the very end, and you can put a pin in there or a pick or something and push the piston back over. Well, we didn't have this luxury here because these brake lines would most definitely break if we attempted that. So we wanted to try it the old-fashioned way. Might be the easy way, might be the hard way. We'll see if it works or not. All right, we'll plug this little donger back in. Okay. Hey, look, the brake light's gone. We just have fastened seat belts now. Let's jam on the pedal a few times. See if it comes back. Oh no, and we've got hard pedal now. Boys and gals, we learned something today. Isn't that dandy? My gosh, things are coming around. In conclusion with this at least, I'll explain. If you blow a front brake line, all you have to do to reset this valve is to push the piston back over using this neat rubber button on the side. If you blow a rear line, you need to either take off this line on the side and take a pick and push that piston back over, or what I think is probably easier because you're not spilling brake fluid, take this wire off and then take that sensor off and then take a pick of similar configuration, and let's see, which way did I have to go? So if you blow a front, you got to push that way. If you blow a rear, you got to pull it this way. Yeah, so I took that sensor out and I kind of stuck this pick in there and pried like that and was able to move it over a millimeter at a time. God darn, this thing's gonna act like it has brakes now, because prior it just had fronts. And this situation can also make brakes really difficult to bleed with these you know, disc drum combo with proportioning valves. Now, I once upon a time bought a tool to help me with this, and I constantly forget to use it. Here, this guy, this little anodized chunk of aluminum. So if you know that you're going to do brakes on one of these cars, and say you're going to replace calipers, you're going to replace wheel cylinders, something like that, if your proportioning valve cylinder is already where it needs to be and it's not tripped, you can take that sensor out and screw this into its spot, and that's going to hold that piston still so that it can't move around on you and you're not going to have a hard time bleeding brakes. The first thing I ever done brakes on was my 78 Camaro, and I was just a kid and I had no idea what I was doing, and I put I did everything. I put absolutely everything on it, and I had a hell of a time bleeding brakes on it. So I don't know if I am proud or embarrassed at 30-something years of age that I successfully figured out how to reset a GM proportioning valve. I feel pretty dang good about myself right now. So we've got full-blown brakes, we've got a good running engine. Next up on the list, we need to put a shaker back on this thing, because we've got about everything else done except the shaker, and that's where things can get confusing with these cars. So here we have a 400 shaker off the 78 Trans Am, and here we have our nice pretty blue shaker off of our 80 original 301 car. And GM, Pontiac, in its infinite wisdom, had how many different configurations for 77 to 81? We had the 400, 403, the 301, and the 305 in California. So 4 shaker possibilities. Yeah. So the differences are minute but serious. So the outer hard candy shells are all the same. What changes is this sheet metal piece that is riveted to the fiberglass shell. As you can see with this 400, the sheet metal piece goes very, very far forward, and on this 301 it's about, what, 1.5 inches different. Reason being is, for some reason, these 400 carburetors, well, this is how it should be if you ask me, these 400 carbs sit in the middle of the intake, With these 301s, however, the carburetors sit, so here's the center of the valve cover, and then here is in line with the center of the carb. It's set back a good 2 inches, so that changes your shaker placement. So what we need to do is we need to ever so carefully drill out the rivets on this shell and swap the metal pieces. We could, if we wanted to, we could just run this whole shaker with that air cleaner, because that's a 400 air cleaner base. Of course the air cleaner bases are different as well, why wouldn't they be? But yes, you need a 400 air cleaner base, and you need the 400 sheet metal surround mount for the air cleaner base. So what we've got to do to make this fly is I want to use the same shell, because of course it's already shitty blue and matches the paint on the car. So we've got to drill out these rivets on both of them and whoosh, swap it, and we have to use the 400 shaker air filter base for this car, and then we'll be able to drop a hood back on this sucker. Alrighty, so we need to replace the accelerator pump on this quadrijet. So we'll take out our front 2 carb mounting bolts. Looks like everything else might be pretty easy. Yeah, these long bolts only go through the front of it. Back 2 mounting bolts are short ones that just go through the base plate. Looks like we've got a rod here for the choke we need to take off. Make sure you don't drop that screw. There's plenty of places for little screws to go in these Pontiac intakes. Pop you off. Put our screw back in our butterfly so we don't lose it. And what else do we have? Looks like we can manipulate that rod out of that green bracket. So then we just have 100 of these standard screws to take out. You don't want to miss any because they're hidden. There's 2 of them down here in the front 2 barrels. There might be some in the back 2 barrels too. Alright, all the screws are out. Looks like the only thing we have left to contend with is this arm for the accelerator pump. Looks like everything on the other side is gonna come off on its own. You want to be gentle. I can't remember. Yeah, there's metering rods that are in this top plate of this carb, and you really don't want to mess them up. They are fragile. There we go. Maybe they aren't metering rods, but there's tubes or something at any rate. Alright, you just gotta lay the top plate over. That wasn't so bad once I took my head out of my rear end. We're gonna try to peel up this gasket in one piece. Nope, too late. Hope we got the right kit. And then we're gonna try not to look at how dirty it is. Alright, I think you gotta kind of manipulate the gasket around this piece. There we go. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Here's what we're after. Our accelerator pump that is not pumping. So we're gonna replace this little guy and then slam a new gasket in here, put it all back together. Looks like that's about all we need to do. The rest of it looks pretty good, surprisingly. So I've got my new gasket. What you want to do is line up the two gaskets and then look at it from the side of the old gasket and make sure that you have all your holes. Your holes might be a little bit different from the side of the new gasket. There might be, like here's an extra one, and over here that we're not going to utilize, but that's okay because we have all of these holes. So that's great news. Now we need to rebuild our accelerator pump. So we need to remove this black rubber piece because that is our diaphragm that has failed. Yeah, it's pretty hard, it's crunchy. Not much give to it. We'll take off this spring behind it. And here's our kit. New spring, new diaphragm, and an installation tool. So we'll put our new spring on first. The spring just kind of helps the diaphragm maintain its shape. And then, I'm gonna get a little bit of oil so I don't rip our new diaphragm. So I broke a plastic clip on this one, but I think I can use this other one that I found. The dimensions look about the same. And where I think I went wrong is I should have put the blue piece on first and then the spring. Take it back off of there. Try to dig it off this other one without breaking it. This other one has more robust little plastic tabs on it. And it also doesn't help my case that it's kind of dark over here, and I'm getting to the age where I really shouldn't do stuff like this in the dark. So put the rubber donger on first, and then the spring. Sorry, coffee hasn't really kicked in yet. I'm still kind of sleepy. I'm sleepy, but I'm shaky from too much coffee. It's a great combo. You've been there. You understand. There we go. Wham bam. Let's stick it back in. So this sits in a spring that is down in that little barrel. Let's see if we push it down now, if I can see it squirting. Oh yeah, look at that. We got it. We got squirter action now, boys. Okay, these little, I think they're called metering rods. They look kind of icky. I'm gonna clean them up because they're really important. They just have these, they come to a tip and you want the tip to be really clean. But we can put our gasket on now and then we can set our lid back on. The new gasket has reliefs cut in it to get around this little dude. Make sure you get that rod in the right hole. There you go. And you gotta get this all negotiated around without tearing the gasket. There we go. And we got little alignment dowels. And we got our, I gotta drink more coffee. We put this thing on backwards. I know there's no we here, this is all me. Golly, long night. Okay. Pump goes in there. Rod goes through there. Now, we can do this rigmarole. Put our our alignment dowels on. That's better. Stuff's only as hard as you make it. All right, we'll get these tips cleaned up. We'll slam it back together. I just have carb cleaner on a rag here. Beautiful. Just want to get the gunk off them. All right. Try to get all of you back together. I'm gonna do this from the other side. I can see what's going on. I've got 6 rods over here to try to get into their respective holes without bending anything. Put that accelerator pump through. Once you get the long middle 2 ones, the floppy ones through, everything else will probably just fall into place. There we go. And look at the other side. Yep, all seems okay over here. Oh, I gotta get that. That rod's loose. I got something hung up though. Oh, that's our middle too. There you go. Now we'll just hold the lid down tight, work it, make sure we got fluid action everywhere. We do. Our little green choke rod's through, that's good. All right. We'll run our main mounting bolts back down to hold everything together. And then we can put our small screws in. There, wasn't that a nightmare? I haven't done this for a while. Gosh, I don't think I've had a quadrijet apart in probably since 21. Wow. Because all these old Pontiacs have carders, so I don't get to see them as much. All right, we got our little son of a bitchin' screw that goes into our barrel. We'll put him on a magnet and try to get it started that way. At least in there. This may prove difficult. It's in. Cool. Let's put your screws back in. Away you go. Here's to hoping this thing starts now without having to feed it any. And give it one more. Seems kind of floody. Cool. Started all on its own without force feeding it. All right, what should we work on next? How about the shaker? Let's do that. That'll make me feel better. That'll be a confidence booster. Hey, don't forget. Dun, dun. Oh. And we need this little guy. Now we're official. All right, let's scab a shaker together. All right, I got my Christmas tree bit on here to drill these rivets out. We're gonna try that first and see how that treats us. Pretty good, I think. Yeah, the rivet pops off pretty easy. Cool. Make sure you put your hand in all the shrapnel. Come on, little buddy. There it goes. Nice, you just do that 20 times and then we'll be able to swap them around. Looks like the rivet locations are in the same spot, so we have that going for us, which is nice. Let's see if we can kind of line that up first before we get too carried away. Appears to be. Well, we're committed now, aren't we? Dang it. Need bigger rivets, I think, because I don't have any 3/16 rivets. Things I should have looked at before I started this. Oh well, let's move on to the next thing. Exhaust. So, I need to cut a little bit off of this so that I'm not running into the frame anymore. And on the back, I gotta get rid of this bend. So I gotta lop it about here so that we're straight all the way back. Well, to the my brother stopped by and we got the hood on. I got the shaker all riveted back together now, so I'm in good shape. I think all I have to do now is get some exhaust scab together, and I think this is going to be my saving grace because I've got a really bad approach off of this white pipe, so we'll see where this gets us. That just barely snuck us away from the frame. All right, so now we need to go from yay to yay. So I need to either expand this or see if I have a 2 1/4 coupler, and then I can see where we're at. Because I think I'm gonna go, I need a stub pipe. I gotta get to about here so that I can get tucked up into this area with the muffler. Because I think most of the time it would be back here. But due to space and time constraint, I need to put it up here. So hopefully I can pull that off. This may be some major hackery, but there's no may here. It is, but it's at least piped together. So I gotta add a couple 3 hangers or so in here, or some number 9 wire. Clamp all this together and we'll see how bad it leaks. Well, to quote Mr. Jason Boland, I'm not saying it's the right way. Hell, it's really no way at all. But it's up. It's hanging. Let's go drive this thing. All right, boys and girls. Put it back down on its feet and the T-top's out. Let's see what it sounds like. It's got a little grumble. Weird. A good oil pressure. Nice, I'll let it warm up for a little bit and we'll take it out. Oh man, we're even charging. Isn't that cool? Do I have enough ATF to make this thing move? Oh yeah, barely. All right, I'm gonna let it warm up, then we'll go for a ride. All right, first time with 400 power. Are we gonna scrape? Am I gonna rip all my exhaust off? No? Weird. Thought for sure I would. It's a little low on fluid. It's okay. Helps put it in gear. I also don't have the kick down hooked up at all. You don't need that. Hopefully it doesn't bind in our throttle linkage. brakes now for the first time. Needs the throttle turned up a little. Either that or I don't know, it might still be on the choke. It's smooth. Really smooth. We're charging, we got 15 voltages, we got 40 PSIs. Oh no. Throttle just got stuck. I was afraid of that. Yeah, throttle linkage gets stuck on the air cleaner base. Nice. Okay. Not again. Dang it. Okay, I gotta fix this. Alrighty, got rid of the old cruise control linkage from the Grand Prix. A lot better. It had this 1-inch rod coming off of the throttle linkage, or I guess carb linkage I should say, that was getting stuck up against the inside of the air filter. So now we're live. Now we got full range of throttle. My tack only goes to like 2200 RPMs though, so that's a bummer. Well, now we're boogieing. At oil pressure, we're staying at 190-ish. We got voltages. We got smooth, easy acceleration. We're accidentally going 10 over the speed limit. Life is good. Had 2 people stop and ask if I needed help, so that's the nice part of being in a small town. Unfortunately, I don't have a kick down, so I don't have really aggressive acceleration, but still not bad. Smooth, it's easy. We're going 55 already. Pretty good, ladies and gents. We got the dunk plows out picking. What a sweetie. Where am I? There they are. This thing does donuts like nobody's business. Not bad at all. Gosh darn it, this thing deserves a right proper bath now. Oh, I love these cars. The exhaust doesn't even sound all that awful. That is pretty darn good acceleration for not touching that carburetor other than a accelerator pump. Dang it, I think this thing might be race ready. Better slow our roll a little. Cool. I'm happy, guys. For what little money I have into this swap, that made the car a lot more fun. behind me. I better get out of the way. Son of a gun, my battery died after that tractor show, so we gotta take this thing out for another rip snort. Okay, how many pumps are you gonna take? Let's try 5. It kind of liked it. Up and we'll take it out. Muffler's got a little bit of a grumble, but I don't know if I like the grumble. You can definitely tell it's only coming out of one pipe. Vitals look good. Boy, I just love the dashes in these cars. Brakes are working good now. Idling good. Power steering feels good. This thing's really smooth. We got 5-0 behind us, so we can't do anything really gnarly just yet. We gotta get out of here. I think it has decent acceleration for a disco car. We weren't even getting into the 4 barrels. It's just snappy, you know? It's responsive as all get out. I wish I had 100 carburetors like this one because this thing is tuned. All we did to it was spray it with 4 cans of carb cleaner and stick just an accelerator pump in it. I'm really happy with this, let me tell you. Here we are, ladies and germs. We've made this thing kind of fun. I gotta fix the exhaust. It's hitting some stuff and it's rattling. Other than that, I'm pretty darn happy. So we've taken an anemic 301 car and stuck a 400 in it as cheap as we possibly could. So what did we change? We had to change the shaker, we had to use all the 400 front accessories, we had to use the 400 exhaust. What could we use from the 301? The motor mounts, and that's about it. Transmission, of course, all that stayed the same. But it's been fun. I've got, what? I paid $1,000 for the car that had the 400 in it, and that got us almost all the accessories, and I still have the Grand Prix left, the body of it, and I still have the turbo 400 out of it that needs rebuilt. But all in all, not into it that much money. All we did to that engine was we painted it, we put valve cover gaskets and an oil pan gasket in it, and that's it. We got into this pretty cheap. And now we've got a fun little cruiser with just a little bit of a lifter tick. It's got low oil pressure at idle, but it comes right off of it. Yeah, you can see there. Gets up to 40 when you're running though, so that's good enough. Lights them up like it's nothing. You're not even trying. Kind of likes to stick the throttle linkage though. Buyer beware. This thing sure is fun to look at. I love this color. This is called Tahoe Blue. I don't know if it was 80 only, but it is sharp. I'm normally not a big blue guy, but this is pretty cool. Dang it, I love these cars. These F-bodies are what really got me into cars. One of my first car-related memories is watching my uncle on Easter jump a 76 Trans Am through a ditch at my uncle's farm. So it's easy to see where the love of F-bodies came from. Well, there she is, folks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in a little bit.